You gotta say I love you back.
Dad, are you serious?
I want to hear it.
You want to hear me say it?
I love you, Dad.
You're dropping me off out of school?
I love you, Dad.
Look at this place.
Dad, I love you.
Dad, I love you.
That's a copy.
Hello, cinemaholics of the world, and welcome to Shot of Film, a podcast where we dive deep into the abyss of cinema, one movie at a time. Today, we're going into the Spider-Verse, and we probably won't ever come back out. All right, guys. Good to be back. Good to have a short turnaround for once.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like the short turnarounds. We should just do back-to-back movies.
Just never
My
stop.
apologies.
Just whenever we're not recording the podcast, we should be just watching movies for the podcast.
Exactly.
Well, with the current state of affairs, the world we live in, it's not like we don't have a lot of free time.
Very true.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have lots of free time. Anyway, who the gat dang frick are we?
I'm Daniel Hudson.
I'm Nora Jones.
I'm Jaron A. Gravely.
I think we've finally gotten a rhythm to that.
Yeah, it only took us the entire Pixar podcast and a couple episodes of this usual one.
Well, I just always picked up Jaron would usually wait for me, and then by the time I'd wait for him, we'd both go at the same time, and it'd just be awkward. So, I'm sorry, Jaron. You can go second if you want.
No, it's okay. Sibling psychic link.
Okay.
All right, so to all our listeners, this is a podcast where we watch a movie based on themes, and our theme for this week was Animaniacs. And the movie selected by our good friend Jaron over here was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Indeed it was.
Also known as the best movie. Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps. I might say so. I would be inclined to agree.
Yeah, you know, this fourth time through and it's still great.
It is one of those few films that gets better every time you watch it. Dare I say.
Well, Nora wouldn't know because this is only the first time she's watched it.
Indeed.
Yeah. And let me just say, I loved it so much.
Yeah, you just finished watching it like half an hour ago.
I did. And I've decided I really like critiquing the movies. Even my favorite movies, I have some critiques for. Some are hardcore, some aren't. I have 0 issues. This is the first time I've had 0. I do not have a singular complaint at all.
Wow.
Whatsoever.
Dang. Compare this to E.T., where you were just like doing the recap and then you started screaming about 17 plot holes.
There were plot holes and I was upset, but it was still good. See, criticizing it.
Well,
Should we go ahead and do the synopsis?
I think that would be good. Who wants to take it this time round?
I feel like Jaron's very passionate about this movie.
I care a lot about this one. Yeah, I'll do it. So basically, the film is about a 15-year-old boy, I guess he's 15, a young high school student named Miles Morales, who is just a standard kid living in Brooklyn. He won a lottery to attend this prestigious science high school until one day he's bitten by a spider and initially shrugs it off until he realizes he might be similar and might have the same abilities as Spider-Man.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thus finding out that he is not alone in the Spider-Verse and must band together with other Spider-Men to defeat Kingpin and save the multiverse.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Does whatever a spider can. Can he travel to alternate dimensions? Sure he can. Spider-Man.
My favorite version of the Spider-Man theme song is Homer singing it to Spider-Pig.
Yeah.
Yep, I
There
think
is a Spider Ham in this movie, Peter Porker.
Oh yes, played by one of my favorite comedians ever, John Mulaney.
Nora,
Peter Porker.
is he the queen of this movie?
Heck yes, he's the queen of this movie.
I
His
mean-
name is Peter Porker.
I mean, let's be real. This is another movie that's full of queens.
Yeah, it is.
It takes place in Brooklyn, not Queens.
They go to Queens to see Aunt May, another queen.
Did anyone just miss my incredible joke?
Yeah, no, I got it. I slapped Penny. I'm
We
slapping.
understood it.
I liked it.
Just
It was
punishing
good.
you for the pun.
Oh,
Punishing. The Punisher's not in this one. He's too dark.
No. I don't know. This movie got dark at
It
times.
did.
Not-
and
not
that's one thing I
Punisher
would like to talk about.
Uncle Aaron, I was not ready. I did not see that coming. I thought he was another Spider-Man. I was so wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Nora, how familiar are you with like the general Spider-Man mythos? 'Cause I know you're not like a big superhero person.
No, but I know my Tobey Maguire, and I know
Good.
I know my Aunt May, and I know that scene where he hangs upside down and kisses the girl. MJ, is that her name?
Mary Jane, yeah.
Yeah, potato patata. And I know the gist. It was a long time ago I saw them, but I remember they were good.
They're my favorite, that trilogy.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire went downhill in this one. He had a hard time.
That
Oh,
goes-
okay, all right. Did you
Yeah.
interpret Peter B. Parker as the same Spider-Man that Tobey Maguire played?
Absolutely.
That was
Not-
the intention of the
That was the
film.
intention.
Yeah, not
That's the
the
same
blonde
character.
one, but yeah, it
They
was
just
good.
could not get Tobey Maguire to voice him for whatever reason.
Well,
Yeah, I
they
was
were going to
wondering.
ask him, and I'm sure he would have said yes, but they didn't want to confuse the audiences by by including an established Spider-Man. I keep holding
I think that's more of
out.
a producer thing than a.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have said yes. I'm sure that, hopefully, sure that we'll get a Tobey Maguire cameo in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness because Sam Raimi's doing that one.
I mean, it's almost guaranteed.
Anyway, yeah, let's just say that Peter B. Parker is the same as that Spider-Man.
I mean, that's just what I interpreted. He had the full story and everything. of
And
the
there are some
original
pretty
movies.
obvious references too.
Yeah, and also he looked like an older, slightly chubbier Tobey Maguire with a more defined jawline.
It's
Yeah.
just the dimensional warping. Cut him some slack.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you just called me fat.
I didn't think he was fat. I just thought he had a little bit of a dad bod, and he's older. That's fine. He looked good.
But he
was still
didn't want to
moving
be a
around.
dad at first. Why would he get the dad bod?
Because it's a prediction, Daniel. It's foreshadowing.
Perhaps.
Well,
Anyway, where to begin with this?
thi-
There's a lot going on here.
there's so much to talk about with this movie. I mean, we could throw here. I'll throw a dart at the board and say, let's talk about the animation.
That's
Yeah,
what I was
that's-
gonna
that's-
say.
Hopefully, we're not biting off more than we can chew.
Groundbreaking, legendary.
Yeah.
Appropriate words.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say that. I don't think it's going too far at all.
I
Yeah.
think this is the biggest revolution to happen to CG animation since Toy Story.
Yeah, that you took the words right from my mouth.
And I feel qualified to say that because we did the whole Pixar canon.
Yeah. Nothing has been this game-changing since 1995. Obviously, there have been some stellar-looking animated films since
Yeah, like-
then, but
Oh yeah, stuff has pushed the needle forward.
Like
Again,
Isle of the Dogs. What is that movie called? I haven't
Isle
seen
of
it either.
Dogs is stop motion.
I haven't seen it either, but I know it's known for pushing boundaries and being fabulous as well.
but different medium technically.
Yeah, we're
But
talking on a tech.
still. But Didn't that movie go up against this one in the Oscars?
It did, yeah.
It
The
did,
Oscars.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking of it.
It had no chance, though, because Oscar voters only go with what their kids liked.
Oof. Well, their kids must have had some good taste.
Yeah, you know what? I really can't complain. Even though I'm a big Wes Anderson stan, I'm very happy that this movie got prestige behind it because it didn't do super well at the box office.
No, it didn't.
Really?
It
No.
did all right, but
Despite the
it's,
Spider-Man brand recognition behind it.
I was gonna say, I thought Spider-Man meant instant box office success.
I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 underperformed.
and that
and
movie
led
still.
to
Well, here's the thing: Amazing Spider-Man 2 still made double this movie's gross.
not to get conspiratorial or anything, but I really do think it was the animation stigma behind it. That grown-ups don't want to
possible.
see a cartoon.
Yeah, but those people are, they're dumb.
They're also the
I
same
wanna-
people who
I
go
wanna drop
see
an
The
anvil
Lion
on their
King
heads.
entirely rendered in photorealistic CGI.
Jaren, wait. I want to drop an anvil on their heads and hit them in the face with a hammer.
You beautiful man, Daniel.
Yeah. So animation-wise, this movie does it all, and then
Yeah.
some.
And then some. It is
Like it's
the
not
visual-
just like they had their animators like drawing 2D lines over top the 3D models. They rendered different characters from different universes with different styles.
yeah.
Yes.
They used Ben-Day dots as a way to show what was in focus and what was out of focus. And the freaking color!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miles was animated on a lower frame rate than Peter to show his lag of experience.
The thing that was so amazing, though, is that they unified all those styles. Because I was looking at all of them, and I was like, these still fit the theme. Like, they don't... I hate it when there's animation that looks out of place of the animation. It's a pet peeve of mine. Did not happen a single time, and I thought that was amazing. It all fit.
Yeah. For the first movie to do something like this, they did it astoundingly well.
Yeah.
It's...
This is gonna be some tea spilling here. All you young people and your TikToks and your VSCOs.
I've been TikToking.
This is some tea spilling here. It's astounding that Sony, the laughingstock of the animation industry, of the film industry, the same studio that released the Emoji Movie the year before, showed up Disney and Pixar and beat them to a whole new animation style. Visually, Disney and Pixar have both been, obviously they've been good. As I said, Toy Story 4 is like the best looking Pixar film. But it only really tries to replicate like a lifelike style. Like in Toy Story 4, if you look at the textures and things, they look like live action. The plastic, or even that rain sequence.
Yeah, a lot
But-
of Toy Story 4 didn't even look like animation.
Yeah. But this is animation. It's not trying to fool anyone, or not trying. Fooling anyone's kind of a bad.
It revels in creativity in a way that just like the big studios in general tend to shy away from. And maybe it was off-putting for some kids, and maybe that's why people didn't show up in droves to see it.
But isn't that a little bizarre, though, that an animated movies like from big studios make bank. An animated movie about Spider-Man didn't do well at the box office. But a shot-for-shot remake of The Lion King, rendered in dull, lifeless photorealistic CGI is the highest-grossing animated film of all time, I'm not mad.
You got some salt in your veins right now.
I'm not going to be salty. I'm going to talk about something I enjoy. Let's talk about this movie. I'm not going to reference that again.
Yeah, there's
too much to love here.
Yeah, I've honestly been putting off pouring over the behind the scenes because I want to stagger them for the rest of my life because I never want to run out
So
of stuff to
detailed.
learn about this film. It's just look, we can sit here and talk about why it's a feat of animation all day. What was your favorite thing about the animation?
The characterization is my favorite thing.
Oh, my favorite was how they incorporated the superhero comic Bam Wow in there without being overly cartoony and making it fit and actually adding to what was happening in the story.
It'd be incredibly difficult to do something like that in live action.
Okay, that was one thought I had while rewatching this. I thought this is a perfect justification of there are some things that don't need to be in live action. You could do this in live action. You could have a live action Miles Morales, and you'd have a whole cast of actors. There have been how many?
I mean, there's
Spider-Man
comparable
movies at this
stuff
point?
to this. Like, you could do a Peter Porker in live action. Just look at
Peter Porker is an amazing character.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, you could do something like that today.
But movie studios aren't clever or creative enough to even try anything like that anymore.
Mhm.
I think you and I, Daniel, were having this discussion a few weeks ago about Roger Rabbit specifically, how Disney would not take a chance on that today.
No, absolutely
Everything,
not.
and this is better than any single MCU movie, in my opinion, for the sheer sake of creativity and character and like heart. I'm not saying the MCU doesn't have good characters, it doesn't have heart at times, but this just feels more natural, you know? And it doesn't have real people in it.
I think that because Sony isn't, Pixar, Disney animation, specifically those two massive companies, and they had some movies that weren't as successful.
The Emoji Movie.
That they weren't afraid to experiment and take this risk, because I'm not calling shots, but I think there's been times in Pixar films or any other animation that I've seen where they tried to do an experimental factor, but it was only in there slightly and it seemed off because they didn't go all the way. I'm sorry, Inside Out did this. It's that one scene, and it's brilliant animation. It's where they're walking through and they totally change their body. And it's great, and you can tell they were trying something new, but why don't they keep doing that continuously, pushing barriers? And their films are gorgeous. Like, don't get me wrong, the animation in Pixar is outstanding.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think Sony did that and took it to the next level and made a whole new animation genre, really, honestly.
Well, to be like full disclosure, I don't think any producer at Sony would have approved this if it weren't for the literal blank check that Christopher Miller and Phil Lord had.
Yeah, I mean, they're a hot commodity right now.
Well, even just the case of, like, they had already done the Lego movie before this, and the fact that the Lego movie, they also were pushing boundaries with that film, doing that faux stop motion with CG. And since they were also producers on this film, they probably were just giving the creative team as much free reign as possible, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Boy, did it work out.
Hell yeah, it did.
There was not a visually dull moment in this movie at all.
It's not possible for there to be a dull moment in this movie.
Mm-mm. And I don't typically like superhero movies. I find that I like animated superhero movies. I guess because they know pacing better. But this was
Shots fired.
sorry, but this was great. And the ending fight sequences with the dimensions spinning all around them, that's where action movies can either fall apart or be wonderful, because sometimes they go on forever with those ending sequences, or they overplay it, or they overdo the fighting. Even in animation it can be done, but they kept it so clean, and the animation never was really repetitive necessarily in that scene. It all had the same theme, but objects kept spinning around them, and they kept bringing in new elements. Like, it wasn't just because I was scared.
I think
Yeah.
one of the things that definitely benefits this movie is the fact that there's this big earth-shaking finale with all these like massive set pieces, which I'll just say that the collider animation towards the end was my favorite bit.
Yeah. It was gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, but I think this movie definitely benefits from being animated because it's all made of the same stuff. Whereas modern superhero movies and live action, they have to use a blend of CG and real elements. And, you know, depending on how well you do that, it could look okay, but it can also just feel entirely weightless and disconnected. And that's just not a problem animation is ever going to have.
Yeah, you can do literally whatever you want. I mean, granted, in live action with CGI, you can have a big purple man wearing a golden glove, but this just
like in live action. In live action, you're never going to have a kingpin.
Yeah. Oh,
can we
the
talk
kingpin,
about this design?
Yeah, he is like a big, wide man.
He's a large person.
He's literally a wall.
Yeah, I mean, the point of the Kingpin in the comics is that he is like 300 pounds, like fat, but like pure muscle and not body fat. You could totally believe that with this character design, except he's more like 900 pounds than 300.
See, I think he may also be a queen because he's not like a supervillain or powers.
He murders Peter Parker.
Okay, like
yeah, Nora.
Cold blood. Oh, we do have the Lotso sympathizer here.
Listen, okay, he's my least favorite character in the film just because I was like, come on, man. But it's cool he doesn't have superpowers and he just crushes people casually.
Yeah, he just is a Goliath.
Yeah.
Like there was no radioactive whatever or toxic substance. He's
what Batman wishes he was. Sorry.
I don't know. Batman's deal is to be more like a ninja. The only instance Kingpin can be a ninja is if there's a building with only 3 walls, and he
don't understand Batman.
squeezes in to be the 4th wall.
How does Batman fight everyone? He doesn't have superpowers. He just has.
He's rich.
He's rich. He has fight training. He knows every other superhero's weakness.
But the superheroes literally have powers that make them infinitely strong.
He has canonically defeated Superman.
And that doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, granted, Superman does have a glaring weakness, which is just a glowing green rock.
I actually did see that movie, Batman vs. Superman. It was truly terrible.
That's my trash.
I hated it.
That's my trash, baby.
It was trash. Did not enjoy it.
Oh, I know what I'm picking this next time if I get the...
Please don't make me agree with that. I'll cry.
But will you make us watch the extended cut?
No, it's like...
Do you bleed?
No.
You will.
It's like 10 hours of pain.
I love it.
Another thing,
it's like so miserable and
you You don't need to be miserable to be dark, and I think Uncle Aaron proved that much.
Uncle
Yeah.
Aaron got me. I was not expecting Uncle Aaron to be here.
You are not expecting Spider-Man's uncle to die?
Okay, listen. I thought he was going to be another Spider-Man.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be another Spider-Man, and that's why he let him down to the cave, because he knew, and he was like, "You're great." And that conspiracy, but
Okay, so you...
He only knows that cave is there because the Collider's right next door, and he's working
He's the Prowler. He's...
there.
All right, so even though I knew
It's
the
very well
comic lore that Aaron was the Prowler, and, obviously a villain, that still got me. The reveal, even though I knew from comics lore.
They make him so freaking likable.
Yeah.
Just...
And the jury is still out as to whether he really is, like, bad or not.
Yeah,
you know?
I want to know how he became a villain. Like, I want a prequel to Uncle Aaron.
I would watch that movie.
Yeah. He's so cool. He's like Darth
And
Vader
also,
meets
partially just because I
Reaper
want
from Overwatch.
He's so good.
I think this is the second time I've had a great idea for a prequel on these podcasts. The first time was with Incredibles, and now I want Uncle Aaron movie.
I'd be all about that.
Somebody make me a producer and give me lots of money. Thank you.
Yeah. This movie is just great at making you like characters. The thing I always come back to is the introduction to Miles, where he's just singing along to a song he is clearly too young for, which it literally says in the script, which I love. And
he's doing that thing where you're like...
He's not too young for that song.
Nora, do you...
There's like 7-year-olds that sing to that.
Hey, let's move on to something else.
Nora, that's... Okay. You know what, Nora? You can... You can live in blissful ignorance about what that song's about.
Let's keep going.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
they're all about the same thing, and I don't think 7-year-olds should be singing it, but I'm just saying it happens. There's 6-year-olds that look like 30-year-olds now. There's issues.
What?
Yes!
What planet are you on?
Earth! It's crazy, Jaren. You need to go on TikTok.
All I wanted to say was, my goodness, is it adorable how he doesn't know the lyrics, and he does that thing everyone does.
Everyone does.
Where you just kind of mumble along with the melody until it picks back up to a point you know. I can't believe I've never seen a film before that uses that specific device to make you like a character.
He's so endearing. Like, the best thing about Spider-Man, whether it's Peter Parker or Miles Morales, is that Spider-Man is supposed to be the everyman hero. That he's supposed to be.
Make Miles feel that way because he's also not in many ways. He's a genius and also an amazingly gifted artist.
Well, I mean, Peter has always been portrayed as very intelligent, but also very socially awkward. And I feel like Miles, even though he has a hard time talking to Gwen, maybe he's a little more...
Well, they demonstrated very well. He's really comfortable with the kids around his neighborhood, and then when he gets to school...
And they all like
They even
him.
use the exact same camera movements as he's moving through both crowds.
Yeah.
And one, he's popular. One, he's not.
Yeah, I wish we could have seen a resolution to the new school thing, because I know he's Spider-Man now, but he's still...
I mean, they are making a sequel.
Really?
Yeah, greenlit.
They're also making a Spider-Gwen spinoff, which I'm also hyped for.
Wait, they are?
Wait, whoa.
Jaren, I've told you this factoid.
I know, I'm playing dumb.
They're making a Gwen before they make the Uncle Aaron prequel?
It's a little messed up, I know.
It's fine. She's cool too.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about the other Spider-Man, I guess.
Okay. Here are the rankings. In S tier, it's Spider-Man Noir. In
Yeah,
A tier, it's everyone else.
yeah.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I think I heard you wrong. There's an everyone tier for the lowlings, an S tier for what's his face, and a queen superior goddess tier for Peter Porker.
I will grant you that.
Yeah, I think.
But Spider-Man Noir is voiced by Nicolas Cage.
And he likes to fight Nazis
And
a lot.
Nicolas Cage talks about letting matches burn down to the bottom of his fingertips
Just so he can feel something.
Anything.
That's a mood. That is a fat mood, as you young people say.
You're 23.
Shut up.
Called out.
I'm just calling all the shots tonight.
Well, I will say.
I
Peter
mean,
B.
you're on the
Parker.
high of having seen Spider-Verse for the first time, so.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine that. Like, imagine having that feeling of seeing it for the first time again.
Yeah.
I got to see it in theaters for the first time, Jaren.
I can imagine.
Shut up.
Spider.
A chance that you had.
Shut up.
Nora?
I'm warning you.
I
Wow,
tried to
Jaren.
drag this man to the theater to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with me.
I wanted to see it. I just don't like going to the...
Jaren, the only people in the theater that day were me and like one other family way in the back. You would have been fine, mister.
Eventually, you and I and Joey did go see a far more inferior Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
Wow. I'm disappointed.
We need to get Joey
Jaren.
on this podcast eventually. We've been trying.
I love Joey so much. Please, Joey, if you're hearing this, come join us.
Joey,
Yeah,
don't be a
Joey.
coward. You're gonna want to watch the next movie with us. I guarantee it.
Come hit the Joseph.
Okay. So we talked about how great Noir is. We've talked about Miles. We've touched on Peter Porker, but let's get to all the Spider people because we're 30 minutes in. We should talk about the Spider-Verse.
Well, Peter B. Parker is my personal favorite because he's basically me in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, yikes, I know how that feels. I relate to this man.
Once again, you're 23.
Yeah, but I'm like 50 at heart.
That's
Flash forward to later. I'm in my apartment doing push-ups, doing crunches, getting strong.
As if that's not me now.
yeah. Except you make chicken parmesan instead of the pizza.
I like pizza a lot, though.
Pizza.
We should do a double whammy of
The
chicken
fact that he
parm.
never said pizza time, though.
Next time.
Almost the perfect movie. Anyway, yeah, Peter B. Parker, very great.
And he's more than just like a fat, depressed, sad sack, like me.
Also, I really like that he and Miles just embody slapstick humor throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Their relationship is
A
fun.
lot of films don't let their main characters get slapped around in goofy ways.
Yeah.
And that needs to come back in a big way.
Well, then it sounds like you need to watch the Goofy movie.
I love a goofy movie.
I absolutely do, but it's also not a model.
Powerline.
Yeah, but their relationship they built between those two characters is spot on.
One thing I noticed, or a thing I read online, is that people were disputing calling Peter Miles' father figure.
Oh,
when
I
it's
think
more like, because Miles already has a father.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
It's
He's
more
got
like
two father figures
Miles
already.
is a son figure to Peter. Because early on, when they're talking for the first time, he's like, "This is why I didn't want to have kids." But later on in the final battle, he's like, Miles, I'm so proud of you. I want to Miles like a son to him than Peter is a father to Miles.
Yeah.
He reminds
Because
he's a
for
terrible
most of the
father
movie,
after all.
Peter B. Parker is not suited to be a father.
That's
No,
true.
he's just a grumpy curmudgeon.
Yeah. He is
I
an
love
uncle.
that. I love that
Ooh,
Peter
maybe-
B. Parker and Miles Morales is basically just Luke and Ray.
Kind of.
Maybe
Yeah.
he's the real uncle here. Because Uncle Aaron did not work out. He is a goofy uncle.
Yeah.
Think about it.
You could definitely pull off Goofy Uncle. But uncles in the Spider-Man universe, they have short lifespans.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, he went to the other dimension. He's gone now.
Yeah. Everyone's gone. Though apparently Gwen can visit him, kind of.
Yeah, I
Who knows?
understand that.
It's a timey-wimey thing.
I mean, I
I
assume
think it's just the case of the movie wanted to end on like a little bit of a friendship note. And also, if the portals are still open and stuff, that leaves you a door for the sequels.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
And one thing I
God.
did like is that they didn't make Gwen and Miles have a relationship. Like, they
Yeah.
hinted at it, that there might have been something there.
friendship.
But, yeah.
I just realized something. The plot of this movie is basically the plot of Endgame, but better.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it's kind of like it.
Daniel
Endgame was more to do with
yeah.
time travel. And
No, Endgame was like this, but with a ton of famous people on the screen for 3 hours. And it was great. I enjoyed it. One of the superhero movies I enjoyed. But this was better.
yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, this is better than anything the MCU has ever done.
Yeah. Sorry, MCU.
I don't think we have to
They
apologize
can
to
wipe
the...
their tears with money. It's okay.
Listen, I'm just very biased. It's just not typically my thing. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's Batman versus Superman, and I want to rip my eyeballs out.
Hey, remember, Nora, I've been
Okay.
trying to get you to watch this for maybe months now.
This movie?
Yeah, dude.
Well, I said that we're probably going to do it on the podcast.
No,
Yeah,
just during,
right.
I think, Les Mis, I was like, yeah, there's a movie I like. It's called Into the Spider-Verse. I think you might like it as well.
That's
The
fair.
exact same thing I did to you, Jaren.
Shut up.
But the thing is, I don't like superhero movies, so Jaren
I know.
is more at fault than I am. Jaren, you should be ashamed.
I know.
You
Okay.
Peter parked yourself at home instead of going to the
Okay.
movie
We
theater.
both need to stop shaming Jaren so much because we still have 2 more Spider Peeps to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
We were
Spider-Gwen.
just talking about her, Spider-Gwen.
Or
She's so
Spider-Woman, as she's called in this.
I'll be honest, I prefer her comic book name, Ghost Spider.
Ghost
sounds
Spider
way
sounds way cooler, yeah. So, Nora, if you don't know, Gwen Stacy is like... Oh, gosh, I'm mansplaining, aren't I?
No, I didn't know, so go ahead.
Okay. Gwen Stacy is an integral character in the Spider-Man mythos. She's Peter Parker's first girlfriend, like in the storylines where Peter's in high school. And she dies. Gwen dies at the hands of the Green Goblin in the comics. It's a huge deal in the comics the night Gwen Stacy died. And Peter holds himself responsible for it because, the whole thing about responsibility. But in the universe this Gwen is from, Peter died, and she's the one who's the superhero. And thus, she is Spider-Gwen in the comics, then Ghost Spider, which is a much cooler name, and then Spider-Woman.
Because it doesn't give away her secret identity.
Yeah. Also, there's another version of Gwen in the multiverse called Gwenpool, she's Deadpool.
Why?
Because Deadpool, lol, random XD chimichangas. I don't like Deadpool.
I
I'm
haven't
just gonna
seen
say it.
Deadpool. Haven't seen it.
I'm just saying I don't like Deadpool as a character.
I've heard
Or okay, I like the concept of Deadpool. I just don't like Deadpool fans.
Oh.
He's like the Rick and Morty of superheroes.
Oh, I love Rick and Morty. Well, I haven't watched it that much, but so far, like, I need to watch more of it.
Well, I'll refrain from Deadpool memes and Rick and Morty memes from now on.
I'm saying I like Deadpool as a character. And I think Rick and Morty can be funny. It's just the fans take it way... Some of the fans take it way too far.
Meanwhile, you got Spider-Verse fans who are just like the most wholesome
Normal
people ever.
Yeah, like normal people.
Okay, one more Spider person. We really shouldn't leave.
Forget about her. Penny Parker. A little
Penny Parker,
Japanese schoolgirl.
Who's
Pilots in Ava.
basically probably just the most unique among them in that she doesn't really have spider powers, just a psychic link
A
with
mech.
a spider.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-
I guess...
The spider is the mech, but
Yeah, that was my one issue. I didn't see the purpose in the robot dying. That was just kind of there.
It was more that the spider died inside.
The spider
Spider was
lived.
fine.
Spider
Oh, yeah.
was fine.
Spider, how dare you accuse our good boy Penny's spider
She
of
just
death?
She just likes the spider's plastic surgery robot body.
I mean, it
Which
did
is
make a
rude.
sad face
Spider.
when it died.
Yeah.
But
She's,
there was
like,
no,
like I said, it's like an Ava, or she's like Diva from Overwatch.
there was no need for
It's
the
the
robot
second time
to
I've
die.
referenced Overwatch.
There was no need for the robot to die.
Except that it raised the stakes very briefly in the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
She's fun. I like her.
When her
I
robot
like
got all
her.
smashed up and she was about to get stabbed by a giant scorpion man, you didn't feel like the stakes were just a little bit higher, Nora?
I mean, the stakes were higher, but like it was pointless
There we
for the
go.
robot to die. Like, why did the robot have to die? That's like when they tried to kill off Wally and bring him back. Like,
You
there's
had
no
to bring
point.
this back to Wally, didn't you?
There's no point in it.
I kind of feel like Penny Parker didn't get enough to do in this movie.
No.
I feel like
Granted, she's an exceedingly like unknown character in the comics.
And Spider-Man Noir isn't.
Well, no, there's a whole like Marvel Noir universe. He's a more prominent
and
character who's been
casual
around a while.
normie fans know about this Spider-Man Noir universe, but don't know about Penny Parker.
Listen, I'm a sad boy
Is that
who
what you're
doesn't have a
implying?
girlfriend. I seem exactly like the kind of person who'd know.
I'm talking
I
about
thought,
casual normies here.
I thought Peter Porker didn't get enough screen time. If we're gonna talk about screen time, but no. On
The
a
extra three
serious note,
spiders, they do just sort of show up.
Yeah, I didn't think any three of them got enough screen time, to be honest.
I read the
I will absolutely take a Spider-Man Noir movie. Just straight up saying, it'll never happen. It'll
I read that
never
there was
happen.
a recurring gag planned of like just more and more spider people showing up, but they felt it'd be too distracting, and it would have been. It was a good call not to follow up on that.
You know, a lot of this movie kind of got cut out in the editing.
Yeah.
Really?
You guys-
There's an entire alternate universe cut on the Blu-ray.
yeah,
I
so-
know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's this stupid unspoken rule in Western animation that says animated movies can't be longer than 2 hours,
Yeah.
and I hate it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I freaking watched Lord of the Rings as a kid. I don't know if
Well, it's not about kids being able to sit through stuff. It's all about the sweet spot for packing a movie screen with runnings, or showings of a film, is 90 minutes to 2 hours.
yeah.
That allows you the maximum amount of showings per day. So no animated film in the West, at least, is going to get longer than 2 hours. You want to know what the
Yeah.
last one that managed to do it was?
Incredibles.
No, Incredibles is under 2 hours.
Oh.
It was Fantasia
Oh.
in 1940.
I see. Funny thing about Fantasia, that was going to be what I was going to pick initially.
Oh, I would have much rather watched this.
If you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. Just give me a minute. Keep talking.
Okay.
Well,
Sonora, what are the secrets of the universe?
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Okay, since this is like random time, let me spit out the only facts I knew about this movie before watching it, and that was with Peter Porker. That was an aggressive laugh. Hold on. I'm dying. Okay, anyway. So, John Mulaney voices Peter Porker. John Mulaney is hilarious, one of my favorite comedians ever. And I was watching an interview, and I didn't know he was in this movie, and he was talking about playing Peter Porker, and I got excited because this was like maybe a month or two ago, and I knew we would probably watch it soon, or at least I would. So I was like, yes, John Mulaney's in it. And he was talking about how they just let him do what he wanted with the character. They were like, just go for it. Like, just say whatever you feel. And he went.
I just
like,
washed my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason.
But like he went, like he was just going and going, but he was dropping like F-bombs, and he was like, I'm a pig, and like he was like I'm a Spider-Man pig, you and like he was just going for like minutes, and they just let him go, and then he stopped and he was like, you can't use any of that, can you? They were like, no.
I think the more appropriate joke would have been, what are all the secrets of the multiverse?
They're
I
like, no,
got it
this
there.
is going to be a... wait, no. He stopped and he said, what's the ranking of this film? And they were like, we're shooting for PG. And he was like, so you can't use any of that. And they were like, no, but that's good energy.
Jaren, we were talking about Spider-Ham dropping F-bombs.
I see.
What I was going to say about the 2-hour thing, I do think that it should be allowed for animated movies, especially, to go over 2 hours. But I don't think I would have wanted this one to necessarily go any longer. Like, I think the 3 extra Spider-Men should have gotten more time.
But if the movie doesn't get longer, what would you cut out to give them more time?
Exactly. So, but I mean, I was happy with the way they were. They were lovable characters. So honestly, I wouldn't change it out with anything. I thought it was perfect pacing. I really wouldn't change anything with that. Or, like, I know I said add more time, but no.
I mean, I would take another 10 minutes of Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir talking about hard-boiled biscuit boxers, but that's just me.
That's true.
I mean, same.
All right, I want to give a shout out to the directors of this film.
Yes.
Because very often Lord and Miller are given credit for this, even though they had some writing stuff and they produced, but directors Rodney Rothman, Peter Ramsey, and Bob Persichetti, I think that's how his name pronounced, y'all did damn fine work.
Absolutely. Hats off to you.
Literally any frame in this movie could be a wallpaper.
Yeah, that's very true.
I've got space in my apartment. I'm thinking about just framing certain images.
That would be cool. I would do that.
You should do that.
Oh, I wish this movie was animated on cells, because then I could actually purchase cells from Spider-Verse.
What do you mean cells?
Film cells.
Oh.
Yeah, old animation, Nora, was after they drew it, they would paint little pieces of celluloid, the images, onto the celluloid in order to photograph it. And a lot of old animated movies still have just like, character animation frame by frame available for purchase.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. I would purchase that.
To own a piece of history.
It would be so cool. But you can't really You can't really do that with a CG film.
Not
You
You
quite.
can't even do that with most 2D movies these days.
One of my favorite things with this animation was I always like when they use color scheme and tones to depict just the mood in general or how our character feels. This animation is almost solely based off that. I felt like you can really see their expression or their internal thoughts without even them having to say anything, just by their surroundings or maybe how they're drawn in that specific scene. It was great.
It, it really does feel like the animation was just so emotion driven, like you're saying. Yeah, it's
Yeah. I really think it's part of the
and I mean
what was it?
most
It's like
animation.
how,
You're
how
saying
do you
there?
describe this like animation? Like is it 2D with a 3D
I mean, it's
element?
3D that
Yeah.
has taken inspiration from 2D.
Okay.
It looks like a comic book come to life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, but I think because I knew it wasn't 2D, but there's 2D elements, so I don't know how to word that. But the aspect that looks 2D, it's almost because you can't quite see the drawing lines, but it's almost like they made it like that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
deliberately did that. Yeah,
Yeah. And there's something about those that just make it seem more genuine and like it's reaching out to the audience. It's,
yeah, because people actually had to draw those little additions
yeah.
after the 3D render was done.
It's not just perfect shapes all the time. Sometimes it's very specific, and that's why it can adjust to any mood or emotion that's happening in the scene. I don't know if I explained that well, but in my head it
You
made
did.
sense. Okay. That was my favorite part, though. I love beautiful animation.
Okay, I need a favorite background joke from you guys. Mine is when Miles hits the scientist on the head with the bagel, and there's just an impact font for bagel.
I out loud said, "Ha, bagel." I out loud said that. I just remembered that. Ooh, I don't know.
This is gonna take a minute.
Well, while you guys are thinking about that, Doc Ock in this movie was a freaking treat.
Yeah.
I first time seeing this, had no expectation of that was gonna happen. My jaw was on the floor.
You said the F word.
It's not like he hasn't before.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even say it then. I said frickin'.
No, you didn't. I'm gonna tell on you to the podcast
The
overlord.
fuck you are.
Ah!
Yikes.
Anyway, Doc Ock, truly amazing. Absolutely love Liv. I hope she's back in the sequel.
Yeah.
Step 3. I re-examine my personal biases.
Okay, I can't think of my favorite little word font in the background moment because I need to rewatch
Well, it could
it.
be any background joke. Like the
Well,
fact
I
that
have
the restaurant that Peter B. Parker loves so much, it has that C rating for health just
I
in the
have
window.
a favorite dramatic background moment that wasn't funny, but it was
Okay,
pretty
hit me
awesome.
with it.
It's during, I don't even remember exactly when it is, but it's during the end, and I think, what's his face? The villain, 900-pound man.
Kingpin.
Yeah, that guy. Like, I think he must have thrown him or something happened, or is the explosion maybe? I don't know. But Miles is being whisked back, and in the background, you see the expectation mural that flies behind him. They made it long enough to where they intentionally wanted you to notice that, not even just like an Easter egg, and I liked that a lot.
That's very good.
Oh, I'm thinking there are so many.
Okay, well, here, I'll hit you with one more thing. The thing that's been making me tear up whenever I've rewatched this film lately is just well, hang on, I'm looking up the actor's name real
Uncle
fast.
Aaron.
Uh,
Uncle Aaron.
Oh no, Jefferson.
The father.
Jefferson Davis, Miles' dad, voiced by Brian Tyree Henry. Just the way he delivers that line about getting Miles his own wall for his art, like, and maybe you can throw up some of your art. And I just, there's
The
so
whole
much
scene-
emotion behind that line.
The
His
whole
dad
door
is-
scene makes me like very emotional every time.
Yeah, that scene was the big.
It's just my favorite line just in this movie.
That's-
everyone's acting is on point, for
That's
sure.
That's what Inside tried to do, but forced it down their viewers' throats. Sorry, I said it. Sorry.
You said what?
I
I'm
said.
sorry, I was talking about something else. I didn't hear you.
I said that's what Inside Out tried to do, but instead they forced it down their viewers' throats. No shade, no tea. I've shaded Inside Out
Getting
twice
some
in this
Inside
movie.
Out hate.
I know, this is the second time. Inside Out is a great film. Those are really my two issues. That's about it.
That you think the ending scene with Riley's family is forced down our throats?
No, but I do think there is like literally some sequences in the movie where it screams at you, cry. You need to cry here. This is where you're supposed to feel sad. Just throughout.
That
But
is something similar that Carsten Rundquist, Daniel Gans, that is. He's a YouTuber.
Yeah, I know.
He basically said as much in his Pixar ranked video about Inside Out.
I do like Inside Out though. It is
Of
an
course,
inspirational
and
I
we've
mean-
film that
discussed.
did make me cry.
All
They
movies
succeeded.
do that, though.
All right, I've got
This
one
does that.
background
Uncle
thing that I
Aaron
really
dies.
liked. Stan Lee shows up in not just that scene, the it always fits eventually scene. Throughout the movie, he just shows up in the background.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Best Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the T right there.
I don't know what Stanley looks like.
Wait,
Yeah. I'll look up a photo.
First Steven Spielberg, now Stan Lee. Are there any other old white men you don't know a thing about?
Oh, that guy!
do you know who Santa Claus is?
No.
Oh wait, he sold him the Spider-Man outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know who the person is, and that the superhero people like him, and I just didn't know it looked like that. But I've seen him before. That's Stan Lee. Good job, Nora. Sorry, continue.
Eventually, you knew him.
Those superhero fans, if they ever listen to this podcast, I am not going to be their favorite. They're really not going to like me. I've really trashed
You're
on
gonna be
them. I'm so
ripped to
sorry.
shreds.
They're
To
not.
shreds, you say.
I am
Well,
not
that's their own
queen.
problem. They have no reason to mock other people.
I am not their queen though, and
Don't worry. All your Spider Ham love will get you back in their good graces.
John
Indeed.
Mulaney's John Mulaney's a queen. That's who's a queen.
Okay. Well, that was a straight hour of gushing. Do you guys have anything else you want to toss on top of that?
Gushing
Gushing.
yeah. Yeah, it was great. Oh, I will say, not always, but most of the time, like the protagonist, but someone like Peter Porker will usually be my favorite character, and of course, Peter Porker, he was. But I really, really, really liked Miles a lot. He's one of my favorite protagonists. He was just real. He was a real person, not anything extra or just or fake. He was just Miles, and I appreciated that. Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
That
I'm
was
so
my
mad because I just realized when we did the recap of this movie, we should have said, let's do this one more time.
I did say in the very beginning,
We
my
blew
name
it.
is Jaron A. Gravely.
I know, but we blew it.
And
We
I
blew it
said,
so bad.
I did a variation on Who the Gosh Darn Heck Are We as like an alternate universe thing.
I know, but we still
Feel bad
blew
for
it so
explaining
bad,
the
Jaron.
joke, though.
Okay, I explain my jokes all the time. I have no shame.
Okay. Well, dang, I think that's all I can say on Spider-Verse for now. I don't think I had anything else I have to get off my chest about this movie.
It's fantastic.
Genuinely fantastic, yeah.
I finally learned the name of this movie. I could not remember it to save my life. But Spider-Man-Into the Spider-Verse, right? That's the name of the movie,
Ding,
right?
ding, ding.
The only movie in history to have 2 spiders in its title.
Mm. Well, that's fitting.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I can't imagine there's another movie that does.
No,
Just
but I
wait until my
remember
next film, Spider.
I was talking about this movie to someone else, and I was saying how Jaron told me I should watch Spider-Man into, I think I said the multiverse or something, Spider-Man into the multiverse. And then I proceeded to say, I think that's the first time I've ever gotten the name of that movie right. And they said, pretty sure it's Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. I said, that is still close enough. And I was out.
All right.
Should we move on to the next?
Yes, Jaron, it is your turn to pick the theme. It'll be my turn to pick the movie.
All right. As I was discussing with Daniel earlier, I am stuck between the fantasy genre and
Fantastic fantasy.
and doing Animaniacs again.
Oh.
I flipped a coin earlier, 2 out of 3, and it landed. We're doing Animaniacs again next time.
Yay!
All right, good. It's going to be tough for a film to follow up Spider-Verse.
Absolutely.
But thanks to you warning me ahead of time, I was able to select something.
I'm so excited.
This is a film I have not seen.
Oh.
So,
Shocking.
and I am fairly confident neither of you have seen.
I probably haven't.
It is the 1994 Studio Ghibli film Pompoko.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, I didn't expect a big reaction because there's no way you guys know anything about this movie.
I know about it. It's just-
Poco. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's okay. Oh, there's
Yeah,
like a
so-
raccoon. Oh, they're raccoons. Oh, they're all so cute. Daniel. Daniel, they're so cute.
They are cute.
Wait,
So
I'm checking
guys,
them up. Oh, they're like a little gang with guitars. I'm so excited. Wait, I'm crying.
hooray!
There's tears coming out of my eyes.
Nora just learned what Pompoko, and she just learned that Pompoko was everything she ever needed.
I'm so excited.
It's times like this when I'm so glad we have her as part of this.
They're like large Animal Crossing characters, except they're all raccoon bear thingies. They're Pompokos. Ah!
All right. Well, guys, that'll be our next film.
This one looks like Yoda. Sorry, go ahead.
Nora's just gonna be looking at Pompoko characters for the
And
rest
this
of the night.
one's fat. Oh, I love him.
Okay, Nora, you think you can sing us out to "What's Up, Danger"?
Is that the Spider-Man theme song?
Like, "What's up, danger"?
That was the leap of faith sequence.
Oh.
We didn't even talk about the leap of faith sequence.
Oh yeah,
There's
my
too much
favorite
good
scene
in
in the
this
entire movie.
Ah!
I mean, you can talk about it real fast, and
It was great. It was my favorite. I loved it.
Miles is rising. He's not falling.
Absolutely.
that whole
So good.
climax was great. I was like, yes, you go get him, Spider-Man. We love that costume transformation. It was good.
All right. Well, you don't have to sing it to What's Up, Danger. You can sing it to whatever you want.
You could sing it to the
Spider-Man, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. I finally got the title right, and ultimately that's the important part. That I think that was good. I know I normally do more, but I felt good with that.
That's a solid way to end. Good night, everybody.
good night.
So excited about Pompoko.